This week on Supercars Talk, Shane van Gisbergen is your 2021 Supercars champion, Nick Percat gets a pointless pole, and Matt Payne makes a meal of his dispensation audition tape. So I'm sat there on Saturday night thinking about how good the race was. I'd actually had some non-motorsport friends message me during the telecast asking some questions. I assume because that was the only sport on the Saturday night. But with it being in prime time, definitely, in my little world, it definitely garnered a bit more interest. But I was thinking really how Supercars kind of missed a trick there. I mean, I've been saying since all these formats were announced that this final one should be a proper endurance race with the co-drivers involved. And I was just thinking, they really missed a trick there where, especially we're so close to Bathurst, you could have got the co-drivers involved, had a 500k race. The fringe viewers say that were tuning in that, the prime time race, they could have seen this endurance kind of format with the co-drivers and that. It would have looked awesome, kind of starting at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon and then running through. You probably could have even started at 5 o'clock run. It would have been about 3 hours for the race-ish. So run through to 8:30, about where the race kind of ran to. So you would have had it started in nice daylight, run through into that night with the lights coming on, spectacular finish with the fireworks and that. You get to see all the guys who are going to be at Bathurst and things like that. It would have also, Friday night we could have done those the sprint races to set the grid that we had at Sandown for a few years there. You could imagine, and that could have been run on the soft tyre. So, Friday night, you've had a long week at work, you get home, they've had a couple of practice sessions during the day or whatever, and then, you sit down to dinner and you have a co-driver, 20-minute race, and then a main driver, 20-minute race. You could have back-to-back them really quickly, really made an event of it on the Friday night, and then Saturday night, you sit down and you have your longer endurance race. That's what I was thinking on Saturday night. I got up, Sunday morning, we start watching the telecast and there's rain, and I'm thinking, well, that really, you would have then been disappointed. We don't get to see a rain race. Then what happened on Sunday, is it right to not have even tried? We did see carnage, I suppose, in the Super 2 race. That was an absolute mess. But the main game is a little bit different. So should they or should they not have raced? It is so close to Bathurst. And it seems to be this year that's a lot bigger thing about the Queensland teams not being able to go home before Bathurst. If something happened to the cars, there's a tight turnaround. The Victorian teams were in a similar boat last year, but it seems to be, a bigger deal this year. Hopefully it's not some conspiracy theory. I'm sure if you got on Facebook there, you'd find about all the conspiracies. Roland Dane did not want, all the damage and blah 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 and all that kind of stuff, but hopefully it's just that they learned the stress that it put on the Victorian teams from last year, and that's why they're being a bit more sympathetic to the Queensland teams this year. But hindsight's great, and the race didn't happen on Sunday, but I do think Saturday night could have really been, especially if you had those sprint races on the Friday night as well, like we used to have at Sandown. I really do think we kind of, as a category, missed a trick having that spectacular Saturday night race. It's on prime time. It was on Channel 7 as well. That would have been a great lead-in to Bathurst. You've got all the co-drivers there, everything. You had refueling. Yeah, what do you do? you can't change it now, but maybe, they look at something like that, especially if Sando's not going to be around. We could do something like that at Sydney with the lights and everything. Maybe next year, give it a whirl. After all that, there was a little bit of news during the week. Dave Reynolds has been vaccinated, the quickest vaccination in history by the looks. Really not sure what went on. Anyway, he's back racing. Saturday, he was very, very anonymous. I thought, well, may as well have just left Luke Youlden in the car. Still a bit of confusion. I thought that they could only run 2 rounds before they were considered to be a main driver. Some people are saying 3. I'm not too sure. Can't be bothered going through the ops manual to find out. And so anyway, didn't happen. Dave was back. He was anonymous, but then he did qualify really well on Sunday for the race. It didn't happen. And speaking of that one, Nick Percat on pole, bit like the qualifying sessions for the Grand Prix last year, though, where, you get a pole position, but it kind of means nothing because there was no race. On that as well, thank God we didn't have a situation like at Spa with the Formula One where they did a couple of laps and let the clock run out. At least they called it, just didn't drag on forever with that hope that something might happen, and then now we can award points because then we can charge the sanction fee. Obviously, Supercars is a bit different. The sanction fee doesn't mean so much, especially with what's been going on. Also, quite happy that it did. I was very worried at the start when the formats were announced for 4 weekends in Sydney. Oh my God, we are going to be... Yeah, it had the potential to be terrible. There was... I enjoyed the racing all the way through. The racing on Saturday night was really good. The super soft tyre, of course, once again, it lasted longer than what Dunlop thought it was going to. That did spice up the racing because you had some guys who put it on for that first stint that turned out to be a really short first stint because Macca had his engine blow up. Triple Eight and then a few other guys did that, and then they re-put those tyres back on for the final stint. You had the Tickford where they chucked it on for the middle stint, and then everybody else who chucked it on. I think there was someone else that went with that. Tickford, Will Brown, was it? Yes, Will Brown. He joined the Tickford boys in that middle stint, and then everyone else bolted them on for the end, including the guys who did those first few laps. Obviously, in the end, the best strategy was that bolt them on first and then bolt them on again. But if Macca didn't have that engine blow up, I don't think that was probably the right strategy. I think the end of race strategy was probably the way to go. But it was good that you kind of had that convergence because on the podium, you had, the 2 Triple Eight guys and then Cam Waters, the middle stinting. But then you had Anton and Mostert who were, Baltimore later. They were 4th and 5th. And everyone was really close. Like, I think it was the top 9 were separated by about 10 seconds, which there was only that one safety car early on. So I would have expected, someone to have won that race by about 30 seconds or, someone, maybe Triple Eight, to be a long way down the road. But it was actually really close. Finish in the end, I just blown away that the finish was so close. I was predicting, big gaps all the way through the field, and there was at points where there was big gaps, but then it all converged at the end. Really good finish in the end. In the end, Sunday was a washout, so there's not too much to report other than Whincup and Hazelwood crashing in qualifying. Still made it into the top 10. Both of them got the cars running. Nick Percat got a pole. Only his second pole of his career. I was a little bit surprised with that. The big thing, Matt Payne. I think maybe his Max Payne name that I've kind of been getting a bit confused with. Maybe he is going to cause Max Payne to Groves next year if he gets that dispensation. Going off this weekend, I mean, he put the thing on pole and then he stalled it. And then whatever happened today just seemed like a bit of a mess. And coming through the field, a little bit of trouble in the racing. The speed's there, the racecraft, definitely not. This is why people need to spend time doing like Carrera Cup and Super 2 and things like that. Right now, if it was me, I'd be suggesting another year of, a year of Super 2 before he makes a step up. Yeah, maybe they, might be able to grease the wheels a little bit and get that dispensation that they want. But all I was thinking was, Matt Payne in the main game next year, as Michael Scott would say, it's going to be mental. You're probably going to see pole positions but you're probably also going to see a couple of written off cars. And also on Super 2 as well, Brock Feeney, this guy's taking over from Jamie Whincup. He's in a Triple Eight car. He got beaten on Saturday, and Sunday, I think he was third in the end, but it just, should he be taking over the second best seat in the category, really? So, anyway, that's my thoughts there. I could be totally wrong. He could, do spectacular things next year. But yeah, the racing on Sunday, nothing really to report. Shane van Gisbergen ended up winning the Sydney Cup, and he is the champion. So we go into Bathurst. Everyone can go flat out, so he's probably going to win that. But I will get into that in my big Bathurst preview, which will probably be over 2 episodes, so probably Monday and Tuesday next week. Don't forget, you can win one of these special mugs, and it's got the Supercars Talk logo on the back there. Pretty special. Maybe I should cover off my face and the focus on there. But there's 1 of 4 mugs to win. I'll put a link to the description of the entry video. So who you think are going to be the top 3 at Bathurst, down in the comments. Still a lot of combinations to pick. Only one person has picked serial Bathurst podium getter Warren Luff so far. I think only one. I have been keeping track of it. In the comments, I have liked or whatever, I think loved every comment that I've entered in. I am a little bit behind at the moment, so if you have entered and I haven't done that, I will catch up. Probably going to have to cut off entries, say on Friday or something like that with Bathurst. So keep an eye out for my Bathurst preview next week. Down in the comments, let me know what you think. Should they have at least tried racing on Sunday, or was it the right decision to, not risk the cars in those conditions? And would you give Max Payne the dispensation to have a super license going off his performance over the weekend? Until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.